Hi, everybody. Lar from Complete Test Success here. Welcome back for another live stream. It's been a while. I took a bit of a break over Christmas. So today we're looking at Academic IELTS Writing Task 1. If you're new to these live streams, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a question and I'm going to get you to write the various parts of a Task 1 essay. We're looking at Academic IELTS. So we're looking at a graph today. So I'll show you the question. We'll write the essay together. I'll show you what mistakes you're making in your writing so that you know how to improve your scores. And then we'll construct the essay on screen as we go through the lesson. So let me share the question with you guys here. This is today's question. And as with every essay, be it task 1 or task 2, we need to start by writing the paraphrase. Okay, so what I want you to do is to write the paraphrase of that question, share it with me in the comments, and I'll have feedback for you. Just in case you're kind of newer to IELTS and you don't know what that means, the paraphrase is this part of the question here. So you take this part of the question and you rewrite that in your own words. So in your own words, you write it, and that will be the first part of your answer. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to let you guys do it. I don't want to tell you what to say. I don't want to write it for you, because if I can see your mistakes, I can show you what they are, and then you can improve your scores based on that feedback. So that's pretty much what we're doing for now. Hi, Hafiza. Happy New Year to you. I'm doing good, thanks. XIX, good to see you again. Welcome back. Facebook. Okay, sounds like someone trying to scam. Mandeep, good evening. Welcome. Hi, Rahul. Good to see you here. You made it. Okay, so that's it at the moment. I'm going to let you write the paraphrase, share it with me in the comments, and then I'll have feedback for you. Okay, so we have some responses. XIX, the pie charts illustrate the income made by Togo's 5 industries in 2000 and its predictions for 2050. Okay, some small grammar mistakes, but in its essence, you've done what you need to do. So that's on YouTube. Let me just grab that. And I'll add that to the document here. Okay, the pie charts illustrate the income made by Togo's 5 industry by 5 of Togo's industries. Now, that seems very similar, but when you say by Togo's 5 industries, that means that they only have 5 industries rather than, they have several industries. So that's why I've changed that little bit of grammar there. We don't know whether Togo does or doesn't have more than 5 industries. So let's just use it in that way. And then the next part you said, and its prediction. So what is it in this situation? It's Togo's 5 industries. So and their predictions for 2050. Very good. That works. And that, of course, means that we're ready to move on to the next part of the question, where we need to write the overview. So just like before, I want you to write the overview, share it with me in the comments, and I will be able to give you feedback on anything that you're doing wrong. So for XIX right there, you're doing very well, just some small grammar mistakes at the moment. Hafiza, the given pie charts illustrates, so that would have to be illustrate with no S, the income of 5 industries in Togo in 2000 and projections for the next 50 years. For the next 50 years? No, because you see, the next 50 years makes it sound like every year for the next 50 years. So it's and projections for after 50 years. Projections for after 50 years. So the next 50 and after is different in this context. Hi, Ali. Welcome to the lesson. Raul, the pie chart illustrates the information. So it's going to have to be pie charts, plural. The pie charts illustrate the information on revenue generated from 5 industries in 2000 and predictions for 2050. Good. Mandeep, the pie charts display, so again, no S, the pie charts display the revenue from 5 industries in Togo in 2000 and projections for 2050. Good. And as well, we want to change as much as we can. So it's the most important thing is it has the same meaning and that it's easy to understand. But we want to change more if we can. So, the pie charts, you said the pie chart. So that was the exact same as the question. So, we could just change it to say the graphs, right? You said the revenue from 5 industries in Togo in 2000 and projections for 2050. So really the only word that you've changed is displays. Now, always keep this as a rule of thumb. If you can change it, you should change it. So if you can, you should. But there are situations where you don't know another word for chart. You don't know another word for industry. You don't know another word for projection. So if the situation is you don't know any other word, the best thing to do is to copy the word from the question. But if the situation is that you do know them, but you're just trying to do it quickly, like the more you copy, the less beneficial it will be for your score. Copy the stuff you need to copy, but this, you've changed one word. So, you would need to do a bit more than this. The more you can change, the better, but only if it's clear and accurate. So kind of keep that in mind. Shaikh, hi to you. Welcome. Good to see you here. Okay, so at this point, I'm just waiting on some overview. So again, I'll be quiet. I'll let you guys get on with it and just share your overview with me when you're ready. I have another paraphrase here from Rustam. The pie chart compares. to compare is more what we would do when we look at two things and we look at how they're the same and different. So it's more like a person would compare the differences between the charts, but we wouldn't really say that the pie chart itself does the comparing. It's more the person who would look at it that would make that analysis. Okay, compares the 5 industries. Now, when we use the, you're saying that it's specific. So in that way, when you use the, it makes it sound like either there are only 5 industries or that the person reading the sentences already knows which 5 industries you're referring to. So we don't use the in this context. The pie chart illustrates 5 industries in terms of their income in Togo. But it's not the 5 industries income in Togo, it's that the 5 industries are in Togo. So it would have to be the pie chart illustrates 5 industries in Togo in terms of their incomes in 2000 and forecasts for 2050, and then you need a full stop at the end. So a little bit of rearranging to do, some vocab and grammar mistakes to correct there. Hi, Mohammed. The graph demonstrates the income. Demonstrates, no, that wouldn't quite be the same thing. To demonstrate would be to kind of like show you how something works by using it. You know, like if I wanted to show you how to drive a car, I would demonstrate by driving the car while you look, something like that. So to demonstrate and show, they have the same meaning in some contexts, but not in the context that we're using it here. So the graph shows, or the graph illustrates, the income generated from 5 different industrial sectors in Togo. So you've spelled Togo incorrectly, and it should have a capital T and no apostrophe S, in 2000, and their predictions, plural, for 50 years later. Hi, Eid. Good to see you here. Rustam, you're very welcome. No problem at all. Okay, so I'm still waiting to see our first overview. When you guys are ready, of course, share it, and I'll have the feedback for you then. Another paraphrase from Ahmad. The 2 graphs given, so it would be the 2 given graphs, compare and contrast data. No, compare and contrast is more what a person would do. So illustrate data about how much money 5 different sectors contributed to the total income of Togo. No, it's just the amount of money. It's not the contribution to the total income. It's just how much. Because the total doesn't add up to 100. It's not, these aren't percentages of total revenue. These are billions of dollars, and it's not the total. There might be another 20 industries in Togo. We don't know. All we know is that we're looking at these 5. So it doesn't imply that we're looking at the total. Okay. So overall, so here is my first overview. I'm going to come back to that in 1 second, Oleg Beg. I want to just have a quick look, and I want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So when I look at this question, what I'm looking at is the differences. So I'm going to compare each one. So I have, 1 second now, just trying to get my pen to work here. I'm doing something wrong with the software. Just 1 second till I get this working. Okay, so 25 up to 25. Okay, so blue stayed the same. 20 to 25 for red. So red was an increase. 25 down to 10. So yellow was a decrease. 12 to 10. So that's another small decrease, but a decrease nonetheless. And then 15 to 126, so a massive increase for the orange category. Now, a very common mistake for questions like this is that students will forget to include the total. So very often I'll see students forget the totals, but down here, that 97 billion total going up to 196 billion total, that is something that we would also need to address in our overview. So if we just mentioned the 5 categories and didn't mention the total, that would be inappropriate. So we're going to have to say total income also increased. So basically that's what I'm looking for. Real estate development increased, semiconductor industry increased, total increased, life insurance and information services decreased, soft beverages industry stayed the same. Okay, so with that all kind of lined up in the way I wanted, let's have a look at Ulrich Beg's overview. Overall, the share of technologies and real estate development was more than the other 2 revenues in 2000. Okay, yeah, because we're looking at predictions. You're right. Okay. So we do need to divide that up. That's very true. I'm after missing that mark there. That you're dead right. I'm after missing that. So what we're looking at as well is yellow and blue are highest. Green is lowest. Orange is highest. And yellow and green are lowest. Okay. So of course, because the data from the past is not the same. So we're talking about expected increases and expected decreases. That would be okay. Or we can split it down the middle and say which was highest in 2000 and which is expected to be highest in 2050. So that's also acceptable. Okay. So let's look again. Overall, the share of technologies and real estate development was more than the other 2 revenues in 2000, but there was another 3 revenues. So if you're saying that they were highest, then okay, so what? So that's confusing a little bit because you said the other 2 revenues. So if you meant the other 3 revenues, that would have been okay. Semiconductor is predicted to have the highest proportion, the biggest proportion in the coming years. Well, in 2050. Okay, so you give me the highest in each one. The first description is a bit unclear. We're going to have to say something about the total as well. So are we expecting the total? You know, we're expecting the total to be higher in the second year. So not quite enough information there for that one, Ulrich Beg. Hafiza, overall, it can be seen that the total revenue of information services and soft beverages industry were similar at the start. So we're saying information services and beverages. So what color are they now? Information services and beverages, yellow and blue. They were similar, but why are we talking about them? So what we wanted to say is that they were both highest. They had the highest values at the start. Saying they're similar doesn't mean they might be highest, they might be lowest. We're just saying that they're the same. They might have been, maybe they were both 1, maybe they were both 20. We don't know whether they were high or low. You're just saying that they were the same. So you need to say that they were the highest. And similar means nearly the same, but they weren't nearly the same. They were exactly the same. They were both 25, so that's not accurate either. Semiconductor industry is the most significant, has the most significant rise. So in 2050, so the most significant rise doesn't necessarily mean that it was the highest later. So you're giving me 2 categories were similar and one had the most significant rise. So when we're describing categories, we're either going to describe them all in relation to which ones were highest and which ones were lowest, or we're going to describe them all in relation to which ones increased and which ones decreased. Or, you know, we can do both, but we wouldn't do half the categories this way and other categories that way. So we're going to kind of analyze them all in the same way. So this isn't appropriate either, Hafiza. Sir, I have a question just for knowledge. Should I need to do every word paraphrase or just few word paraphrase will be enough? You change as much as you can. And it depends on the question and it depends on the candidate. So, you know, the better your English, the more you will be able to change, but you do not need to change every word. Change as much as you can but make sure it's accurate and it's clear. Those are the most important things. Hi, Mohammed. Good to see you here. The segments illustrate the revenue made by 5 of Togo's. The segments would be the pieces of the chart. So we would just call them the charts or the graphs. Illustrate the revenue made by 5 of Togo's industries in this century and their previous for 2050. In this century would be for a full 100 years, but we're just looking at 1 year. So that's not accurate. And the way you've used the word previous is inaccurate and a little bit unclear. Okay, soft beverages income remained the same in both 2000 and 2015. So 2015 isn't on the chart. The chart is 2050, not 2015. So that's wrong. Soft beverages income remained the same. So that's the blue one. Yeah. Income from real estate development and soft beverages decreased. Now you're after putting soft beverages remain the same, and now you're after saying soft beverages decreased. So you're after using the same category name twice. So that second use of soft beverages is inaccurate. You were probably referring to another category, but that's obviously incorrect. Again, 2015 is the wrong year, and then the others increased. So in that role, there's too many mistakes, inaccurate category names, inaccurate years. So all of that is going to go against your score, unfortunately. XIX, overall, the total revenue is forecast to increase in 2050. Similar is predicted to overtake the highest share from beverage industry and information services. Okay, good. While insurance industry is expected to obtain the lowest figure. Now, everything, I like what you're doing. I'm going to take what you've done, but we're going to have to change it a little bit, XIX. So let me just copy and paste what we have here, and we'll work with that. Okay. So overall, the total revenue is forecast to increase in 2050 by 2050. And the semiconductor industry is predicted to overtake. No. Semiconductor industry is predicted to replace soft as the okay. So let's just take that much so far. So we've said the income is expected to increase, and we've said that orange is going to be highest instead of blue and yellow. So that's, by doing that, what we've said was which ones were highest in 2000 and which ones are expected to be highest in 2050. So that's all good. Now, let's see what we have here next. Okay, so that's the stuff that we already have. Okay, so we're here. While insurance industry, so while the insurance industry is expected to obtain the lowest figure. Now, the problem with this description here, the insurance industry is expected to obtain the lowest figure. You're talking about the future. So let me just get a pen now. Okay, so you said the insurance industry is expected to obtain the lowest figure. So you're saying that green is 10, but yellow is also 10, so they're equal. So if you're just going to say that this one is lowest, well, then you've neglected the fact that those are the same. So we have to say that both of these are lowest. But the other problem with that is that you haven't mentioned which one was lowest over here, right? So if you're going to mention the lowest, you have to mention the lowest from each chart. And you also have to mention that the two green and yellow are both lowest, okay? And that's what you're trying to say by obtain. You mean like, okay, so that's just a vocab mistake. So that became a little bit unclear, but we still need to say that the yellow one was also part of that. Okay, so we're going to say something like this. While the insurance industry is expected to continue with the lowest figure, but will be joined, or not will be, but is predicted to be joined by, now what's the yellow one? Information services. With an equally low value. Okay, that's great. So we've talked about the highest before and the highest after. We've talked about the lowest before and the lowest after. And we have talked about the fact that the total is expected to be higher than in the beginning. So that's everything. We have everything we need there. Okay. So let me just get everything kind of on screen here so we can see it all. Okay. So that there is our paraphrase and our overview. Quite a long overview. We may have been able to word it a bit more easily than that, but we definitely have all the information we need, and that's the most important thing. So we've mentioned highest before, highest after, total increasing. Okay, so with that, we move on to the next part of our essay, which is to write the body paragraphs. But before we do that, we need to decide how are we going to organize the paragraphs. So what information are we going to include in each of the paragraphs? So just let me know in the comments what information should we include in body paragraph 1 and what information should we include in body paragraph 2. All right, while you're sharing that with me, Rustam, I can't see the graph. So Rustam, sometimes I have to put other comments up on the screen, so it might be easier for you to pause the video while you're writing your own overview. Mandeep, overall, it can be seen that all revenue will increase except service and life insurance, which will decrease. However, semiconductor will increase the most. So there's one that stayed the same as well, Mandeep. The blue one is the same in each one. So you need to include that. And it's not that all revenue, it's the revenue of all industries. We don't say will increase. We have to say is predicted to, is forecast to, is expected to, is shown to, is projected to, one of those. So we don't say will. We have to use one of those phrases for predictions like this. So, you know, you might say it can be seen that I'd go the other way around, say like life services, what except service? Service wasn't the name of a category. There's another mistake. You need a space after which, however, should start with a capital letter, and you need to include the total. So quite a few mistakes there, Mandeep, both with language and with the content. Sir, while the messages pop, I can't see the data given below pie chart, which makes it difficult. Yeah, I know this has always been an issue with doing task 1, Raoul, and I do get students complaining about it. But you know, to get everything on screen at the same time has always been a challenge. So yeah, what you can do is just, like I said earlier, pause the video, so that you can see the like, you know, if you pause the video now, you'll be able to see everything. And then when you're finished writing your overview, you can just press play and catch up with whatever else is going on in the lesson. Rustam, overall in 2000, the industry of soft beverages generated the biggest income. Well, it wasn't just soft beverages, it was soft beverages and information services. So that's not correct. Generate the biggest income with as well as information services. So if you don't include that, then you're not accurate. While the revenue of life insurance was accounted for the lowest. Not was accounted, just accounted for the lowest. So life insurance was green. So that's correct. In the next 50 years, it's predicted that the real estate development income will increase dramatically and become the biggest. Well, no, that's wrong. It wasn't real estate. It was semiconductor industry that became the biggest. So that information is inaccurate as well. Whereas the figure for life insurance and information services will be smallest. Life insurance, information service will be smallest, correct. Moreover, the total revenue is forecast to nearly double. We don't want to include specific data like that. So just say will increase significantly or will increase a lot or something like that. So the main issues here are the fact that your information isn't correct. You're using the wrong category names and you're ignoring the fact that 2 categories in 2000 had a value of 25 billion. Welcome from Bangladesh. First pie chart and first paragraph. Yeah, we could definitely do that. In body paragraph 1, we can write largest in both graphs, but in the paragraph 2, we can describe only lowest. Okay. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's do total income, soft beverages industry, and information services. And then body paragraph 2 will be the others. Okay, so this is what we're going to focus on next. I want to write body paragraph 1 based on this. So there are several ways to do it. It's not like there's only one way to do it, but that's how I would like to do it. Okay, so next I want you guys to write the first body paragraph, the first details paragraph, and share it with me in the comments. So just like before. So where was I? Rustam, the colors look similar. They wouldn't to me. That might be something you need to get checked out. But the other thing to remember is that they'll always go in order. So like the first one in the key will always be like, at like just after 12 o'clock if you're looking at the graph. And then the next one will be next, and the next one will be next, and the next one will be next, and the next one will be next. So like, if you are finding it difficult to see the difference between the colors, just recognize that it starts at the top and it goes around like a clock. It starts at the where would be just after 12 o'clock is the first one, and it'll go around like a clock until it gets to the last one. And they will be in the same order as they are in the key where they say the name of the categories. Hi, Kazi. Thank you. Of terms of revenue in 2000, information services and soft beverages industry were the biggest. I'll remove the word avenue. So just say the biggest contributors in Togo, and each of them accounted for a quarter. No, because we're not looking at percentages. We're not looking at percentages. We're looking at billions of dollars, not percentages. But the writing itself is quite good. So I'm going to take that Hafiza and we'll add that. So let me just duplicate this here. Okay, so let's make this our body paragraph 1. Okay. In terms of the revenue in 2000, information services and soft beverages, the information services and soft beverages industries were the biggest contributors in Togo, and each of them accounted for, and now we need $25 billion. Okay. Oh, no, I don't need to put in dollars because I put in the dollar symbol. Okay. So by 2050, information services, which one is that? Yellow. The revenue from information services is expected to drop to $10 billion, while that of the soft beverages industry is expected to remain at 25 billion. Okay, so that looks good. What we're missing then is we still need to get the total. So we were going to discuss the total in this paragraph as well. Okay, so we've done those two and we need the total. Okay. Oleg Beg, the total of income was 97 billion thousand, but it will double in the next 50 years. Okay. Is it exactly double? No. So that won't work. But I can take what you've written and I can add it to what we had and just clean it up a little bit. So Oleg Beg. And it's not in the next 60 years either, in the next 50 years either, because the next 50 years is in comparison to now, not comparison to 2000. So let's just tidy up those few little mistakes there. Okay, the total income was 97 billion in 2000. And we wouldn't say but. That's not, but is, I would be expecting something negative, but if it grew, that's a good thing. And it, now we don't say will. We don't say will because of this type of prediction. We'll say, and it is projected to roughly double to $196 billion, and not in the next 50 years, but it's like, after 50 years, or, let's just write the year, it's clear, by 2050. Okay. So how many words is that there? Oh, we don't have that option on this. It might look a little bit short, but everything that we need is in there. So that's a good paragraph right there. So from there, all we need to do is write the next body paragraph. I'm not going to do it in today's lesson. Let me just put this all up on screen for you so you can see that. Let me try and get everything up on screen at the same time so that we can see it all clearly. Okay, there we go. So there we have the paraphrase is the first sentence, quite a long overview, and the body paragraph, which has all the information we need, but is a little bit short. I probably tried to make that a little bit more wordy. Like, like the total income from Togo was 25 billion. Like, because it looks a little bit short, I'd try and add extra little bits like that. Okay, but overall, that is a good looking paraphrase, overview, and body paragraph 1. And then we would need to talk about the other 3 categories that we haven't already discussed. What I'm going to do at the moment, I'm just going to give feedback to the rest of the students, and then we will finish up there for today. XIX in 2000, it would have to be the beverages industry because it's a specific industry. The beverages industry and information services accounted for. It's in the past. And this is, you need an active structure here because they are the things that are accounting for the highest income. It's not that somebody else is doing that. It's they are doing it. They're the things that are doing that. They are the ones doing the accounting. So you need an active structure. So services accounted for the highest income with the same value of 25 billion. And I'll just put in each just to make it completely clear, 25 billion each. While real estate development, semiconductor industry, and insurance industry earned 20 billion, 15 billion, and 12 billion, comma, respectively, comma, to achieve the total income of 97 billion. The way you've written that, it looks like the total income is a description of what happened to real estate, semiconductor, and insurance industries rather than all 5. So I would probably talk about the total first and then the other 5. So I'd move that little bit you had at the end to achieve the total income of 97 billion. I'd move to the start with that and just say the total income was 97 billion. I'd do it that way. The semiconductor revenue is missing. Yeah, so we still have 3 to do. Semiconductor. Let me just get rid of that thing out of the way. 1 second now. So it's not just semiconductor. The orange one we haven't done. And the life insurance, the green one we haven't done. And there's one more. We've done blue and yellow. So green, orange, and red we still need to do. So it's not just the semiconductor one that's missing. There are 3 of them missing, but that's because we need to write another body paragraph. So, what we've done in this paragraph here, we need to do the same thing for those other 3 categories. So you're 100% right that the essay isn't finished. We would need one more. So you said the semiconductor, you need it's a specific industry. So the semiconductor industries, '(S), industry's revenue increased significantly from 15 billion. And you need to say when. 15 billion in 2000 to 126 billion in 2050. But again, it's not that it increased. It hasn't happened yet. So it's, is expected to increase, is projected, is predicted to increase. So you need that full description. Okay. So we're going to leave it at that for today. I'll have another live stream next week. Also, I have my free lessons on Zoom. There's a link in the video description to sign up for those. And if any of you guys are looking for one-on-one support, I have a small number of places on my course, but not that many. If you're interested, send me an email and we can talk about that. Lewis, you're very welcome. Hafiza, you're very welcome. No problem at all. Okay, so talk to you next time. Take care of yourselves and bye for now.